band. I'm primarily a dance artist, dancer. I work mostly in improvisation. In fact, I'm currently in the third year of a 4-year PhD with the Critical Studies and Improvisation Department at University of Guelph. I also make visual art, a lot of videos, music, theater, curation, production, a lot of many things. I love writing, and I write and publish a lot. But dance is the primary and continual inspiration and center of who I am. Land and the wilderness, in particular, have always been at the core of my practice, who I am, what I'm interested in, where I like to be. This idea of the monument being no monument becomes very important to my work, increasingly so, because in Europe, civilization took different directions than in other parts of the world at the same time as things were taking different directions and culture expressed itself in different ways on Turtle Island. When there was contact between all of these different cultures, there was like a misconception, a way of not seeing what was here, because the monument is no monument. You know, if you're focusing on living a life where your homes are transportable or biodegradable, if you're focused on land and stewardship of the land and the web of interconnectivity as the centerpiece of your relations, you don't build Reims Cathedral, right? That's another approach. So when people came here, they didn't see Reims Cathedral. And so they thought they made a mistake. They thought there was no monument. The monument is the land, right? The monument is the wilderness. That it is still there. That's the achievement in my way of looking at things, right? So in Ramble, there was this feeling of, at the very least, I think, of nature. The Yukon River is so fast and so cold and so powerful, and it continues north and north. And for a person who grew up in the South, it's disorienting at first because the river's going north. What? Like you can actually feel it physically change you and change your actual perspective, right? Gravitationally. So that river has so much significance historically, geologically. It's fascinating, culturally, everything. And it's still so clean and pure. So it is also an example of the monument being no monument, because I think you can still drink that water. The tiniest cell inside of us reflects the biggest things, right? Where we're from, what we're made of, where we've been, what's happened to us, what happened to our grandmas. When women are born, they have their eggs already. So if you figure that out and you go back, what you discover is that in some way, for real, physically, you were in your grandma, right? So your ancestors are also landscape, right? And come from the land and are the land. There's no way around that. And it is literally what we're made of. Dance is the expression of all of that. And that's why it's so magical, you know? And this is why capitalism, patriarchy, colonialism, all these horrible mechanisms, they don't like dance. They actively pursue its destruction, and yet, good luck. It's the most intrinsically human expression. And I would like to tell people who believe they can't dance or don't dance that that is really a system taking something away. So don't buy it. You know, dance wherever you wish and however you wish, because that is your ancestors and you in communication with the land from where you come from and where you are. that kind of emotional connection to land, to trying to figure out a story, to be lost in a musical landscape or a dark theater with beautiful images. I think that still resonates and finds its way into the heart, which is also where we were kind of mucking around, you know, and the heart of everyone's ancestry. Where are you from? Where are you going? Where are you rambling to and from? Or do you ramble? Some people don't. That's always surprising, but it exists. You know, I do really call myself a Yukoner, so I notice, I mean, it's all I kind of think about is the land and animals and stuff, and that is where I want my head to be. You know, it's hard for me to think about other kinds of things. Really taking that time to reflect on one's own connection to nature, what's wild. There's wilderness in Toronto, you can find it. You know, there's chances to observe who you are through the lens of nature and vice versa.